there, I am a class of 2020 graduate, and my internal clock is currently telling me that it is about time of the year when students are panicking about their futures. Am I right? I think I'm right. I think I'm right. I thought I would sit down and make this video because as a class of 2020 graduate, I feel like I know a little bit about what life looks like after graduation during a pandemic, and I feel like I can impart a little bit of wisdom, not a lot. I also thought I would start the beginning of this video on the floor because I feel like that's very fitting for the conversation that we're about to have. Yay. So before we start, let me just validate your thoughts, feelings, and concerns about what's gonna happen after graduation with some statistics. Now, they're not great. I'm not gonna lie, they're not great statistics. Here's my laptop. Let's read these stats. Oh my God, I'm kind of nervous to read these. Okay. I fucked it up already. Okay. A Pew Research Center report found that in February of 2020, the US unemployment rate shot up from 3.8%, among the lowest on record in the post-World War II era, to 13% in May of 2020. That rate was the era's second highest, trailing only the level reached in April, which was 14.4%. Great, we're off to a good start. Number 2, from the Journal of Public Economics, due to COVID-19, 13% of students have delayed graduation, 40% have lost a job, internship, or job offer, and 29% expect to earn less at age 35. This is great. We're 2 for 2. Okay, in 2012, a study was published in the American Economic Journal, which examined the short and long-term career effects of graduating during a recession. So in this stat that I'm going to read you, they were talking about how it affects your salary income in the future after you graduate, okay? So, quote, "A typical recession, a rise in unemployment rates by 5 percentage points in our context, implies an initial loss in earnings of about 9% that halves within 5 years and finally fades to 0 by 10 years. For this time period, these reductions add up to a loss of about 5% of accumulated earnings." Okay, all that to say, it is fair for us to assume that there will be long-term effects on our financial well-being, as well as our mental and physical well-being. But we already know this. Okay. You have been validated. All of your fears, emotions, concerns, they are very real, okay? I feel them to this day. Before we continue on with this video, I do need myself a nice caramel macchiato. It is a beautiful, bright, sunny day, so I'm gonna go and hit the road. 1 second, okay. All right, let's go get some coffee, some serotonin overflow, baby. Let me start actually giving you some maybe good-ish advice. So obviously one of the biggest tips when you graduate is always, like be active on LinkedIn, start connecting with people you know, all that type of stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think LinkedIn is one of the scariest places on earth. I'm happy people are posting their accomplishments and all of their milestones, but for those who have not yet experienced those things, it really just feels like a jab in the gut every single time someone posts something. And I think the worst part of it is that there are people that post on LinkedIn all of these things like, I am so honored to be, working in this role. And then just last night they texted you how much they hate their job. Like, it's that type of stuff that just it really irks me on LinkedIn. I will say though that I do think LinkedIn is beneficial because you have all of your connections in one place. So in that sense, I do think that LinkedIn is beneficial. But what I need you to know is that LinkedIn, in my opinion, is one of the flashiest forms of social media. Take it all with a grain of salt. People who have less or more experience than you are going to be landing jobs in the near future. Other people's successes and their milestones and their job titles, their fancy companies that they work at, that has nothing to do with you or your ability to land a job, right? Don't let their successes diminish your self-worth, which is still something that I have to figure out how to do. I think it's really important right now to be easy on yourself because nothing is what it was like before. Like there's no way to fully grasp what's going to happen in the next 6 months when it comes to the world of work. And beating yourself up prematurely, it's just going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead you down a dark path, okay? My advice for you right now, which you've probably heard about a million times, but it is actually really good advice. Reach out to your network. I hate the word network. Reach out to the people in your circle that you have previously worked with. So colleagues, bosses, people in other departments, whatever. Reach out to classmates who maybe have been posting on LinkedIn about jobs they have. Ask them, do you have a referral number that I could use for a job posting that comes up within the company one day? I should probably preface this by saying that the internship that I had in my last semester of university, right before the pandemic hit, turned into a full-time job. But I had landed that internship from connecting with a friend that I was in a club with at school. And so that's how I landed my internship, and then that's how that turned into a full-time job. The one thing I've learned about networking is if you lead with curiosity and not with the intent of landing a job this second, the likelihood of you exploring and kind of figuring out what you like, it'll come naturally. And I think along the way, that's how you meet the people that you want to work with and the companies that you want to work in. So lead with curiosity. Don't lead with, hey, are there any job postings open right now that I can apply to and I'm guaranteed to get? So the one thing that I was really worried about when I was trying to connect with people on LinkedIn and people within my network, it was that there were some people that I hadn't spoken to in years, and suddenly I was reaching out asking for help or asking like if they could connect me with somebody. And that can feel really awkward, but I promise you it's not. Like, if you haven't done these people wrong in the past, generally people are open to chatting. So I wouldn't stress about that if that's what you're worried about. Okay, so fingers crossed you land an interview. I came up with the most brilliant piece of advice that I need you to hear, okay? This is the only one that I'm confident about. Okay, so let's say you get to the interview and they ask you the dreaded question, tell me one of your strengths. And internally you're like, okay, I can burp on cue. But you're like, maybe I shouldn't say that. For the last year, you have adapted to learning in a remote environment with literally zero notice. When you signed up for university, you didn't sign up for remote learning. You signed up for in-class learning, right? And suddenly you were just thrown into the ocean to try to figure out how to learn from your bed. Like, that's really difficult to do. And it's really applicable to the world of remote working, which we have all been forced to do. So my advice to you is to milk that shit, okay? So the interviewer asks you, so tell me about your strengths. You go, I'm able to easily and quickly adapt to ever-changing work environments. This is best exemplified in the ways that I have adjusted to learning remotely during the global pandemic. Something like that. You understand what I'm saying? But seriously, a lot of horrible things have happened in the last year, and the way that you have adapted to it all, I think is what matters most, and I think will really stand out in your interview application stages. My last piece of advice is to not be ashamed of where you're at in life right now. If you feel like you're moving at the pace of a dying snail, that's okay, because I kind of feel that way too. There are some people who are really gonna bloom during this time, and they're gonna, you know, they're gonna land the jobs, they're gonna do really cool things after this pandemic is over, and you might not, I might not. Your path to getting wherever you're trying to go is going to look a lot different than you had planned it out in your head. You know, it's not like a straight line. It's gonna be peaks and valleys, okay? It really is. So to the class of 2021 and whatever classes may follow that are still involved in this global pandemic, just be reassured that you will be okay, you will figure it out, everything will be okay. If this was helpful to anybody, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm gonna go home now. Maybe I'll like blast some Bon Jovi. I haven't listened to Bon Jovi in ever, so maybe I'll do that now. Thank you for watching. Please don't stress out with your life. Everything's gonna be okay. All right, bye.